scale neighborhoods in all of Arizona. Can you see it there just beyond the mountain? And take a look at some of these Sky Fox pictures as this home was literally being destroyed. It's got to be somebody's dream home right there on the edge of Mummy Mountain, and it took quite a while to finally get this thing knocked down. So our Dominique Newland has been reporting on this since we first went on the air at 4:30 this morning. Hi, Dom. Now, when you were right there in the driveway of this home, what'd you see and what'd you smell?
Hi, Ron. Good morning. Yeah, so immediately, as soon as we were going up the street, getting to where the house was, you could smell all the smoke still left in the air, a lot of char for sure. And then once the sun did come up, we were able to really get a good grasp of this. There was a lot of damage.
We pre-planned these areas. We know the challenges that we face. When we look at an area like Paradise Valley, when we look at elevation changes.
Can you hear me, Ron?
Yeah, I can hear you, Dom. Go ahead. I'm just going to kind of share some of this video with our audience. What were you saying again?
Sure, yeah. So the roof completely gone at this home. There was a lot of debris still in the driveway and the street leading up to it as well. And you know what's interesting, just from my experience, when I've seen homes that, because this was a guest house that burned, typically you see the main home and then the guest house is somewhere close by, but this guest house was on the main road. So as soon as you come up the road and if you turn into the driveway, this is the guest house. And we were still trying to figure out where the main house was, and that was the question, because there were nearby homes, but just not really in that close of proximity to where the guest house was. So that's kind of a question that is still lingering this morning, is just where exactly was the main home in proximity to this guest house that was completely demolished.
Yeah, no kidding. So did you, was it pretty quiet around the neighborhood? Did you get a chance to talk to anybody? I know last night a lot of neighbors were really concerned.
Yeah, and I heard some of that sound from neighbors we spoke with last night we saw a couple of people in the area. We didn't talk to them, but it was kind of a lively-ish. There's a lot of people on bikes kind of going through that area. I guess maybe that's part of their morning routine. And then we saw just a few people on their morning walks and kind of just stopped to look at the house. But really, it's interesting how close the homes kind of are. There's some that are higher up on the mountains, but then right from where the guest house was, 500 feet across the street, there's a home right there. So it's just, it's amazing and really remarkable that it didn't travel any further to these nearby homes. And these firefighters, they did a really great job of just keeping it into one central area without it spreading any further.
Yeah. I don't know how close you were actually able to get to the house itself, but from what we could see from where you were out there in the driveway, I mean, it looked like at least the entire upper floor was demolished. But now that I'm looking at some of these pictures, I'm just wondering if all that's left is a shell of the house, that maybe even the ground floor burned to a crisp as well. What were you able to see?
It looked like most of the ground floor was still kind of there intact, as best as it could be. But yeah, definitely that second story was gone and the roof just open. I'm sure if you stepped inside, or for crews who went inside, if you just walk in and look up, you can see the sky there because it was just gone. So it's interesting too, who knows, maybe if the fire started maybe in an attic area somewhere on that second floor, because that's really where a lot of that damage was. Of course, heat rises, but yeah, it took a toll. And two, it's around $1.7 million guest home, so it's going to be a lot of work going into that to, get back to what it once was.
Dom, I'm going to have you hold on for just a second. I would like to play a little bit of what Phoenix Fire was saying last night. Shortly after the most intense part of this firefight had been fought. Let's take a quick listen.
We've pre-planned these areas. We know the challenges that we face. When we look at an area like Paradise Valley, when we look at elevation changes, we look at the distance of the fire hydrants, we want to make sure we bring plenty of water supply. We don't put a demand on one well or one area. We're a very aggressive interior fire department, right? Phoenix Fire Department, it's a point of pride for us. Our motto is we're not going to lose. What's already lost is lost, but we're not going to lose anything surrounding. So,
Really interesting. And like he said, they take pride in being able to get into a home if there's any effort at all that can be made. Of course, we see it all the time. They want to get into a home and make sure, you know, life and limb are being saved. That's the top priority, and then to fight it. How close, one more time, Dom, just to kind of wrap it up, how close was this to any other homes right on that street, including the main house? And by the way, is the main house that much bigger than this guest house?
And that's what we're still trying to figure out. So I would say the closest home, and I'm here with Mike Robinson, our photojournalist. Correct me, Mike, but the closest I saw seemed like the one across the street that was right there, literally 500 feet. As soon as you cross the second home, their driveway is right there. The rest kind of seemed a little further up, and then maybe one off to the right. But the main home, that's what we're trying to figure out where exactly it's at, because the guest house, it's just in a lot by itself, which is, I think, is kind of rare. Like I said earlier, typically a guest house and the main house, they're on the same property. Yep. In this case, that didn't seem to be so. So I don't know if the main house is maybe higher up in the mountain or a little bit down the street, or even could be the main house could be the one across the street. We just don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Great reporting, Dom. We always appreciate your time. Thanks for the update.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ron.
Okay. Syleste joins as well. She is clickety-clacking on the laptop.
Can you hear that, Ron?
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a new and improved, we call this an IFB.
Yes.
I think that's for intermittent feedback. Yeah, intermittent feedback.
IFB.
I believe that's what
I don't know
IFB
if
stands for.
I think I forgot about that. I'm so
glad
you've...
over to some experts for a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Anyway, good to see you, Syleste. You know, we go straight from that story. Just the pictures are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Somebody's home now lost. It is a guest home. But then we've got this report of this just unbelievable story coming in this morning from out there on the US 60.
Oh, this is a scary sight.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and roll this second video right now so that you can get a good look at what it is that we are talking about. Have a little bit of a problem just punching up. I'm going to let you guys in the control room go ahead and roll that.
You know, that the story, Ron, out off the US 60 in Whitman, you know, out in Sun City West, a lot of the communities out in the northwest part of the valley, a lot of people have golf carts. Mm-hmm. And so we'll see a lot of the golf carts, you know, people will drive, you know, in them to events in the community, and then maybe they'll make their way back, you know, and we don't see them very often on the US 60. But for some reason, the crash that took place, and we'll bring you the video as soon as we get it, but the image, it was westbound on the US 60 in Whitman, the image of that dump truck with the crushed golf cart underneath the cab was heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking. And you could just visualize, you know, there are a lot of homes that have been built just off the highway. People are like, are there homes right along such a busy road?
Yeah.
The one between here and Wickenburg. Well, yeah, but most often there it's, you know, there are hills all through there. So most often there's a little driveway that might go 100 feet in, something like that, to somebody's home. Wouldn't be surprised if it was a situation where, you know, they just hop down on the golf cart to try to bring some sort of, you know, maybe just to go get the mail.
Yeah,
or something like that. You're just, it's not like you're out there on the left lane or the diamond lane. They don't even have a diamond lane there. You know, but that kind of a situation, just heartbreaking.
I know, it really is. And I know we're trying to fix what's happening. There's a little bit of glitch. We got the gremlins out
we do.
this morning.
We suddenly went to our midnight shot.
Wow, you know, is it, Ron, midnight? Wouldn't that be, okay, so there's this show on Fox called Red Eye.
Okay.
Have you ever seen it?
I haven't. Don't tell me it airs at midnight.
It will, yes. And I think maybe the time has changed, but the first time I saw it, it was like midnight to 2 a.m. with
I'm going to bring George in.
Let's do
George
it.
Obie, come on in
George.
over here and mic
Oh,
yourself
now we're
up.
floating
Oh,
in
look.
space.
Oh, this is great.
Where's the?
Oh, for goodness
Am I
sakes.
sitting on the other one? Sister,
right.
sit up.
Chad Daybell.
And so he was in the process.
Yay!
He was in the process of getting a divorce, but according to Ms. Hancock yesterday, you know, he spoke very highly of Lori, even during all of that. And they spent the evening having dinner. He went about his way. Again, as we learned, the next morning he was shot and killed by Alex.
George, hold that thought for one. Now that we got you back on camera, we have to go to the mystery cam. we got to immediately take a break.
Hey, can we just say thank you to our engineers?
Yes.
Thank you
Thank you,
for
Trent.
helping. Thank you, Trent. Thank you for getting us back on the air.
Here's the mystery cam. We're recentering. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Om.
And we're back. Thank you, everybody, for hanging with us. and also for guessing along with some of these. What do you see in Celeste?
Oh my goodness, you all have some really good guesses. Mr. Palvaline says Utah. We've got a Sherry Nevada pup with Mississippi. We have a Husky Mom, who I completely adore your handle. Massachusetts, Tank, Montana, Louis Gonzalez,
By the way, is
Alabama.
Tank one of our new commentators,
I don't know.
Celeste?
Hey, Tank, let us know where you're watching from.
Yeah, Elroy's on again today. Remember, we were giving a shout out to Elroy yesterday.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to go. We had Brian King, our director, come out and shout out Pennsylvania.
This looks
He's
like
a smart guy.
This looks like some sort of event. Look at the Adirondacks, like a resort town or something.
Oh, okay. So Adirondacks, you're going to go with New York?
Yeah, I'm going to go with New York.
Okay.
Do you want to? Would you like to guess, George?
Yeah. George.
It was giving a very Appalachian feel to it.
Okay.
It looks very fall, too.
So you think of Virginia, the
Yeah.
Carolinas,
Yeah.
Virginia? All right, here we go, everybody.
Okay, and we have the mystery cam, MC.
Yeah. Go ahead. Celeste, hold that up
big
one more
reveal.
time. Oh, wait. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
What did you say, George?
The Appalachian, somewhere.
Virginia.
Hey, Virginia.
He got it.
Mount Weather. Never heard of that.
Virginia. It's some
Okay.
sort of
Excellent.
resort town, apparently.
Yeah. Hey, let's wrap up with George, and then we're going to get on to our other favorite topics of the morning. So it seemed like Lori wanted to make a big deal about the fact that she was dating her, at the point still, estranged but current husband.
Yeah, yes.
But I guess one of the things we need to point out is this is a jury that's coming at this with no knowledge of anything else, correct?
In theory, they have no knowledge of, what Lori has already been convicted of, and we haven't even gotten to the extramarital stuff with her in this trial. We may never get to that.
Okay.
But yesterday's witness, Nancy Jo Hancock, was a woman who dated Charles, went on one date with him the night before he was murdered.
Wow.
And so she described what was happening on that date.
But did she explain why? I mean, our reporting was it wasn't until 5 months later
Right.
that she knew
She said that.
that he was dead.
She said
How's
on the
that
stand
even
that
possible?
They met on a dating app. They went out on that one date, and then Nancy never heard from Charles again.
Yeah.
She thought, well,
Maybe it didn't work out. He didn't
Right.
want to call me back.
and
or-
she said, look, he was honest that he was dating other women, or at least going out on dates with other women. She thought, all right, well, maybe it didn't work out. He wasn't interested. Maybe he ghosted me.
Yeah.
She said December of 2019. She's watching the news. She sees his picture and realizes not only is he dead, but that
wow.
Lori, who she had learned about on the date,
Yep.
Lori was one of the prime suspects. She went back, looked at her phone on the app, and realized, oh my goodness, that was the night. That was the night we went on the date.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So for Lori's perspective, again representing herself, there were times when it got a little awkward.
Yep.
Because here, you have Lori asking this woman, do you normally date married men?
Yeah.
It got a little catty.
Yes.
So
when,
the jury.
when we believe she was already dating another man
Exactly.
anyway, right?
Yeah. So it comes, like you said,
Yeah.
the jury doesn't realize maybe how hypocritical that sounds.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it makes for good theater in the trial.
Well, and
Yeah.
her response was, I went on a date with him and I knew his divorce wasn't final.
Yes. Yeah.
That was her response. So it wasn't that, so
Yeah, she was aware,
She
and-
was trying to make it clear to the jury.
Well, I got to say one thing, which is we appreciate Justin and his coverage, and you're doing a great job for us too. George, we appreciate your time. I'm going to let you declip
Yes.
from the mic there.
Good luck.
While we have some of these images coming in from the courthouse. And
I
then
just love how George is still wearing his workplace lanyard because he's a company man,
Yes,
Ron.
he is a company man.
Here's mine.
Celeste.
Here's my
just
lanyard.
like me. Here, there's mine. Let's see Celeste's.
Oh, yeah, here's mine.
Okay, look at that. Oh, whoa.
Are you
What,
trying
did we take that when you were interning here as a 19-year-old? What's this?
What are you trying to say about the way I look now, Ron?
Celeste. Now this is the thing, and every man in America knows this. When you're chatting with a gal, she can take whatever's positive and somehow turn it into a.
I'm just glad you didn't call me a broad.
This is okay. Anyway, let's talk about Amazon came out with a warning this morning
Yes.
for its shoppers, of which there are millions.
And I think people's ears are perking up right now because we want to know this about this story.
I know it, and his name is Andy Jassy. So he is saying that these tariffs from the White House are going to be felt by Amazon customers. He says, look, we have thousands and thousands of third-party sellers. You know, when you're buying stuff, sometimes it says it's sold and shipped from Amazon, but a lot of other times, Celeste, it is not.
No, and a lot of times it's these mom and pop companies that are utilizing the Prime shipping option. You know,
Yes,
you can do
right,
that. You
sure.
can do that on the app.
Yeah, so sometimes you're not even sure, but here's his quote. This is from Daily Mail, quoting the CNBC Business Channel, but he says, look, I understand why. I mean, depending on which country you're in, you don't have 50% extra margin that you could play with. Now, I heard a quote from somebody over the, I'm sorry, but you know, I've looked at 100 different sources since the whole tariff thing, and somebody said, well, if you're already you're buying it from a country where you're getting it so cheaply for $5 and you're charging $100 to the American consumer. If the price doubles and now you're having to get it for 10 or say $12.50 because you know it's been gone up more than 100%, you still have all that margin to play with. You don't have to raise your price. You're going to be looking at what others, but he's basically saying, look, this is where I think we are, and people better brace themselves. I don't know. There are certain things that I do buy on Amazon that I think do come from other countries.
Okay, like?
But it's, well, okay, toothbrushes.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. You buy those on Amazon?
Now, hold on. I don't get those on Amazon. I get them from a store, but it's a 6-pack of toothbrushes for $1.
No, I need the link, Ron.
Okay.
I need the link.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the price may have doubled today, but I probably would still buy them at $2. Now, I don't know if it's an electronic item that you were, say it's a set of headphones, and you were going to be paying, I don't know, let's throw out a figure there, $60 for them. If they just went to, so 120, if they just went to $145, you're probably not.
So I agree with you and some of the experts that you've been reading about or hearing about. They say that there's such a big margin that a lot of them should be able to deal with the cost, the increased cost, you know.
Correct.
You know, if it costs them $10 instead of $5 now to have that product produced somewhere else and then shipped here, you know, for all of us consumers, consumers really should not see that much of a difference, some economists say.
Okay, so we're going to see, but this is our poll question today, and here you go. So, wow, 350 votes almost.
This is a good, this is some good reaction.
Okay, 48% say, yeah, I'm worried about prices going up. I'm already stretched too thin. But almost the exact same number, 47% say, you know what, I am not worried about it because I support the president's plan to get jobs back to the USA. And then 6% are in the middle saying, I am a little bit worried about it, but I don't think it'll be too bad. Just a reminder that of all the things that we purchase in America, roughly 11% of them are imported. So most of them are still made in America. I mean, we're talking about every item at the grocery store to a big box store, but that's one good reminder. What are you seeing?
I'm seeing in the chat right now, Leo, he said that he's actually stockpiling things right now.
Oh.
He buys a lot of small electronics online, chargers, adapters, which I agree. You can go to Amazon. You can buy those Apple chargers that are normally like $20, $25 at the store.
Yes, right.
You can buy those like 2 for sometimes $12 on Amazon.
Is there some obsolescence built into those? Do you ever notice sometimes like 6 months later they suddenly quit working?
Right, and then you have to use the, purchase another one or buy a 2-pack.
Yeah. But it's hard when you're looking at it and you're like, I could go to the Apple store and spend $49, or I could buy it here for $3.50.
So true.
Right.
Okay. Paul in Tucson says, bring manufacturing back to USA. We need it bad. I think if less people purchase the product, let's say if it goes up in price, I think those companies that are selling those products will have to drop their price in order to bring consumers back. So maybe it's like economics. It's how it works, right, in a capitalist economy.
By the way, we're watching the market. This is a little iffy to talk about because we have a lot of people that watch this as video on demand later in the day, and who knows by 1 this afternoon when the market closes what it is. But as we're taping, or as we're live right now at 10:20, the market's down again, with the Dow's given up a lot of what it gained yesterday. Celeste, let's switch to the commentary on whether people would want to have 90,000 bucks in their bank account or their beloved dog or
I
cat.
love this. Okay.
Now, Syleste interviewed somebody. Go ahead and set this up for us.
So we interviewed she's an ASU doctoral student, graduate student,
Okay.
here at Arizona State University. She did
Right.
this study, and her study was based on whether or not we really know what our dogs are thinking.
Here we go.
And I study dog emotions and how humans do or do not understand them. Particularly this one study that I did looked at the context of the situation, and that we actually don't look at the dog, we look at everything around the dog to imply what the dog might be feeling. I videotaped my dad and my dog, and I videotaped them in like positive situations, so like seeing a leash, or negative situations like seeing a vacuum. And at first I just edited out the background, so all people saw was the dog on a black background. And I asked people, how happy or sad do you think the dog is? And then I showed them the full video. What we found is that when people don't see the context, they cannot tell a difference between whether the dog is happy or sad.
So you actually taped that interview with her kind of behind the scenes
Yes.
while you were also doing the morning show.
I was.
correct?
That was during a commercial break.
Do you know our policy is you can now be put in for double pay
Really?
because you're working for the streaming show and for the morning show.
Should
at
I
the same
write
time.
on there when I request that pay?
Yeah, you
Ron
just write,
Hoon approved.
Already approved by Ron. But that's really interesting. And then, you know, the story came out that said having a pet can make you happier. A new study, having a cat or a dog
Yes.
boosts your mood as much, according to this survey, as $90,000 deposited into your bank account would.
So here's the thing with the $90,000.
Okay.
I think, what if you chose the money
Mm-hmm.
and then you found out you weren't happy and then you could buy the dogs?
Okay. So you're looking for a workaround, is what you're saying.
But I do have to say, just a quick note about that study. A lot
Right.
of people on Instagram, they voted in my poll.
Oh.
And in the chat,
Okay.
they voted. So Instagram is Syleste Fox 10. But people
Okay.
are saying, yeah, we do believe our dog knows what we're saying. When they say car and walk and, you know, their dog just gets happy. But what the researcher said to me
Yeah.
was, what they're displaying is actually a reaction, a mirrored reaction of our emotions to them.
Wow.
So we're like, oh, you want to go for a walk or you want to
Right.
go in the car?
Okay.
Then they get excited because they see us excited.
I guess the bottom line is if they're happy, we're happy.
That's right.
Whether we have 90,000 bucks or not.
They're
in
probably
the
looking
bank.
at us going, you idiot. Yeah, let's go.
Celeste, I just want to say we have 10 seconds left. Thank you,
that's
everyone, for hanging with us. We had pretty much everything go wrong that could go wrong, but
we-
now we
we
can
kept-
wrap it up.